Marcus C. Williams here. And behind me is Assemblyman Demond Meeks' office. So we are in the neighborhood that I've lived in a large portion of my life, not too far from my home, West Main and Jefferson. Behind me is the legislature office that represents this area specifically, and a large portion of the Northeast, especially the most high impact areas. For instance, this assemblyman also represents the North Clinton, Portland, Hudson area, as well as Jefferson. You got Chi-Li area, Thurston, all of the hot spots in the city, as well as the whole town of Gates is represented by this assemblyman. Now, today earlier, we did a rally to push for amending bail reform and raise the age laws. So we are requesting various different amendments to bail reform and raise the age laws so that the issues that are facing and plaguing our community, like the criminal terrorists that are running amok, that keep getting re-released, that nothing is happening about them, the criminals that are out on parole or out on probation that continue to reoffend, all of these appearance tickets and all of these juvenile defenders, we have to put an end to this. We have to put an end to it because our community is suffering. And this is one of our representatives that is in the legislature and the state assembly, and they can change the laws. So we came here earlier today to push, to encourage them to change and amend these laws, because that's what we need. Hey, Joe, I see you there. And as you can see behind me, there is some fluorescent, let me see, try to put it this way, right? Because we're backwards, right? So behind me, I'll move out the way, you can see some fluorescent tags on the door. So those tags are notes of what we are looking for as far as what we are suffering as a community. Now, we were out here earlier. It was a bunch of us. The news stations, thankfully, they came out to cover it because they know that the crime in our community is a very, very serious issue. But you know, what we're not seeing is this being adequately addressed by our state assembly and our state senators, who are the people who are able to change the laws that are impacting us so adversely. There are mothers that are losing their children. There are brothers and sisters that are losing their relations. And this is a serious problem. People have got their cars stolen, and now they've been fired from their job and can't provide for their family. We live under a criminal terrorist siege every day that we do not even have enough police to arrest the criminals, even if they could hold them. So that's why we were out here today, to push to amend the laws that have so terribly destroyed our community and really the whole county and the rest of the state. So this is specifically my assembly person that's in my area, my district, okay? Now, I've talked to him before. I've met with him before on these specific issues, asking him, pleading with him to amend these laws. And he's like, everything is fine. They're perfectly fine. And he'll also say, oh, well, I didn't sign those laws. I wasn't there when they happened. That is very true. He was not. But he has the power to present amendments and present other counter legislation to the bill that is in there right now, that is a law, so it can actually be changed so it'll more so benefit the community. Right now, we've got businesses up and down this business corridor. This is West Main Street. Businesses that are consistently robbed every single day, and people are suffering. People try to go there. You can't even get anything out of the store because there's nothing in the store because they're continuing to be plagued by criminal terrorists. And this is a serious issue, which seems, unfortunately, to be disconnected from the legislation and states act. So it seems to be a disconnect between the legislators and the actual legislation. It's like they don't see that these laws are an issue, or they don't care. I don't know which one it is. I'm not making any judgments. So what we've done today is bring those issues to the forefront by coming to do a rally in front of this particular assemblyman's office. We're not done yet. This is our first one. Okay, we were going to take it to every assembly person's office and every senator's office in this city that is very in favor of these laws, because we must. They're not doing anything themselves, so we have to push and urge them to. It's up to us as a community to hold them accountable. People will say, oh, well, they're held accountable when the election happens. That's not how that works. When they're elected, they are elected to be a representative of the people, not some people, not individuals in a specific party, all of the people. And this is very serious, and people need to remember this. So we did our little rally. We posted the things on the door. Let me see if you can see them behind my head here. Let me see, move out the way. You can see them on the office door, our concerns. Because it's real, it's serious. Our community is suffering, as you can hear, probably behind me, you can hear that. There's police driving, running up down the street right now. Because we don't even have enough police to arrest all the criminals that are out here, because they have driven off the police because of the laws that have been put in place, because they can't hold the criminals. Police are fed up, so they're leaving. So a couple of the things that we've asked for are them to implement a dangerous standard and a couple of other amendments as it pertains to juveniles and what's considered a juvenile offense. If basically raise the age laws work like this. If you're under 18, no matter how serious or how severe the crime is, they only charge you as a juvenile. It doesn't matter how many times you do the crime, you're still charged as a juvenile, which means that they erase your fingerprints, they don't hold any mugshots, they don't hold any records of the crime that you did. And that's a very serious issue, because we get all of these people who continue to perpetrate crimes that are not being adequately held or punished for the issues that they are causing in our community. Hey, Jake, I see you there, brother. And this is why we came out today, to address this and other certain issues with bail reform and raise the age that we want to change. Now, we didn't have the opportunity to speak with Mr. Meeks the way we would like to. He decided, or one of his office people decided, to call the police to try to shut down our rally. Now, we were very peaceful, just a couple of us gathered. We had about 10, 15 people gathered, you know, on the sidewalk to actually rally, to say what we want and to stand up for what we want. And the news came, which was very awesome that the news came to actually broadcast our rally. That was great. Now, I don't know why or who, because I can't say that it was Mr. Meeks. It could have been one of his subordinates or somebody else who called the police, but it very clearly wasn't anybody, just a random community member that was targeted. So, but we'll leave that alone. Mr. Meeks showed up after all the news cameras left, and then proceeded to try to record us who were here and try to make it as if it was a personal grievance with him directly. Now, I need to be very clear. This is important. So I'm going to let this car go by, which has all the music in the world, right? So it's very important that we understand that these representatives are our representatives. They represent us. They don't represent somebody in California. They don't represent somebody in Timbuktu. They represent regular New Yorkers. They represent you and me who live in the city. They represent the rest of the people in the county. And they pass laws that impact actual issues in New York State. So when he came out and he didn't want to talk about the issues that we actually had going on, he tried to make it like we were trying to cause a kerfuffle or an issue, which we weren't. You know, we are not BLM. We are not trying to tear up anything or anything like that. We want to peacefully address and redress our grievances with our elected officials, because it's important. As a matter of fact, it is your First Amendment right, liberty, and freedom to redress your grievances with your government. And I've already had meetings with him before to this specific point on bail reform and raise the age. And still there is no action. And I know many other people have tried to get meetings with him and they haven't, or people have had meetings and still there's been no action. So when he came and he wanted to make a video that made it seem like, oh, somebody's coming after him personally, and he said that it was a political agenda. What political agenda, my friend? If it's me personally, nobody can ever say that I've said one curt word about Demond Meeks. Nobody. Nobody can ever say that I've said anything bad about him, because I haven't. I've critiqued and criticized the policies that he supports. I've critiqued and criticized things that he said in relation to impacts in my community, but never him personally, just things directly related to policies. Hey, Cam, I see you there. Because the policies are what matters. The legislations are what matters. I don't know him well enough to critique him as an individual, nor would I, because I could care less. I care about legislation and laws, so I care about his office that he holds, which is important. Now, he said that it's a political agenda. I mean, laws are political, right? Legislation is political, right? So, I mean, if he's concerned that somebody might challenge him for his seat, I don't know what to tell you. I guess that means that there are people that think that what you're on about is not the best direction for our community and we should take a different direction. But that is our right and our duty, our civic duty as citizens of the United States of America, and our civic duty as New York citizens, to stand up and run for office if we see stuff that is going on in legislation, in policy, that we do not like and we do not approve of the way that we are being represented. Now, I'm not saying that anybody in particular is going to be running against him, but it's very concerning when you try to paint this picture of, oh, it's a political agenda, when you're a politician, right? Like, laws are political. Legislation is political. Policy is political. All of these things are political. And if we don't address them as the citizens, if we don't hold our elected officials accountable, how you doing, good brother? Nobody's going to hold them accountable. Right. Nobody. They're just going to do whatever they want and lead us willy-nilly by the nose, and nothing that we want or see needs to be adjusted will get adjusted. So when he came out and did his little video and tried to make it like, oh, somebody's personally has a grievance with him, you know, it's really your legislation that you support. It's really the anti-police rhetoric that you have spouted over the last couple of years. It's really the fact, it's really the fact that you don't want to amend bail reform and raise the age. Now, I don't know why you would take that personal. That is your job. That is your job. You get paid $150,000 a year. You just gave yourself a raise. He voted to give himself a raise. He makes $150,000 a year, and they ain't even in Albany half the time. Can we be really real? It's not personal. It is your job. You get paid $150,000 a year to address the concerns and the issues going on in our community. If we as a community want to hold a rally for change in policy and legislation, that's what we're supposed to do. And he's supposed to listen, not try to make it as if we're wrong for wanting to see a difference or a positive impact and a positive change in our community. This is our home. This is where we live. They're stealing our cars. Nobody stole his car. You understand what I'm saying? They're slaughtering our family members and our friends, right? Like, as far as I heard, and I cannot confirm nor deny this, he may have had a relation on his wife's side in which she had a family member that was lost to violence. And that's very sad. But it's happening more and more commonly in our community. You know, they say, oh, well, murders are down. Yes, murders are down, but all of the other crimes are up. All of them. All of the other crimes are up. Petty crime is through the roof. Theft, robbery, carjackings, car thefts, which are two separate things completely, assaults, break-ins, property damage. All of these are skyrocketing through the roof. They'll tell you, oh, well, it's happening all across the country. I can't bother with what's happening in Chicago or California. I don't live there. You are not a representative of there. You are my representative of here, of New York State, okay? So we have to address the issues in New York State. Valerie, I see you there. This is so important that we all come together. And I hope you guys can make it out to the next rally we have at the next elected official's office. Go to restorerochester.com and sign up for Rock Unite, because we're going to keep on with this fight. But as I said, when he came out, he wanted to talk about stuff. He wouldn't talk to me. He didn't want to talk to me and have a full conversation about the issues. He tried to talk to somebody else who was more so not aware of how politicians talk, and they manipulate conversation and they offer leading questions. He talked about things like fatherless homes and how that was an issue, and how they're going to do community men going to a school for the first day of school. That's very nice. I applaud that. That is not your job. Your job is legislation. Your job is writing laws. Your job is writing policy. So if you have an issue, you think that the issue of fatherlessness is an issue, where is your legislation in relation to fatherlessness? Where is your incentivization to have fathers stay in the home? Are you offering children tax write-offs for cohesive families additionally versus just regular children? Are you making it so that if people want to have more kids, that you're giving them a stipend? Are you making it so that you push to reform the DSS and DHS and other different systems of welfare that have been put in place specifically to disenfranchise the family and break up the family unit? Are you pushing for policy for these things? Don't just tell me, oh, I'm going to do a picture or photo op, a thing to sit in the community, when that's not your job, bro. Like, this isn't, I'm not saying anything that's not true. That's just not his job, right? That's like if you're on a plane, or excuse me, if you're on a boat and the captain of the boat is the cook and there's nobody driving the boat or directing the boat. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is important. Like, the job of an assembly person, the job of a state senator is legislation. It's not bluster. It's not talking about issues. It's proposing legislation. And I support pretty much most legislation that would encourage cohesive and whole families. Okay? But that's not the issue that we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about the issues of criminals having a revolving door at jail. And then when they do get arrested, nothing happens because they're re-released, because a large portion of them are juvenile. So the second that they go to juvenile family court, they're released on juvenile probation, which they still go out and do more stuff. And he was like, well, you know, the county has this JEDS program, and I applaud Adam Bello and the county for trying to do the little bit that they can, but they really can't do too terribly much, right? And that's the county. I'm not here for the county. If I wanted to address something with the county, I'd be downtown at the county building. And a lot of y'all have watched enough of my videos to know that I'd be down at the county building. I'd be down there. I'd be at the county ledge. I'd be there. I'd be talking to them. Okay, I'd be telling them what's up. Okay, but I'm here at my state assemblyman's office. I'm here to talk about what the assembly needs to do, what the assembly can do, and what should be done to improve the quality of life in my community. If I wanted to go down and talk to Adam Bello or my county legislature or anybody in the legislature, I know where to find them. Okay, I talk there all the time. Almost every other month I'm there. So I know where to find them. But you want to talk about JEDS. I don't want to talk about JEDS. If I want to talk about JEDS, I'd be down at the county ledge. I'm here to talk about bail reform and raise the age, because those are the laws that are on the state level. I see that the county is trying to do the little minimum that they can, because they can't do too terribly much because of the state laws. You understand what I'm saying? Do you dig? So that's why we were out here today. So when you have that type of conversation, that's disingenuous. That's passing the buck on to somebody else. You know, it's like, and I know somebody's going to give me some heat for this or whatever. A lot of people give Malik Evans a bunch of sore madness because they upset at him because of the crime in the city. But Malik can't do anything. If he wanted to, he could. If he, in magical fairyland, if Malik was able to hire 1,000 police tomorrow, nothing could be done about the crime because they still wouldn't be able to hold the criminals. You know why they wouldn't be able to hold the criminals? Because of the state assembly, because of the state senators, because they need to amend bill reform and raise the age laws. It's simple. It's not complicated. But they'll get up there and they'll tell you, oh, bill reform and raise the age laws are so spectacular. I went to a judicial type of forum the other day. I think it was the Black Legal Caucus or something was hosting it, and they had legal aid there and the public defender and some other people were there too, right? So I asked the question afterward because they were singing the praises of bill reform and raise the age. I said, listen, you say you got all these great resources for these criminals. I said, but we got all these criminals out here. They can't even arrest most of the criminals because we don't have enough police, because they've scared the police off, because they can't hold the criminals, and because of the disfavorable attitude that our elected officials have said publicly and the disdain that they have showed for the police that are supposed to protect our community. And then they're like, oh, well, we want community policing. Well, the attitude that you propagated over the last couple of years wouldn't make anybody that looked like me want to join the police force, okay? And it's not going to make anybody that look like this want to join the police force neither. Like, y'all tripping. Like, I'd love to get more people, and I got some plans actually for this, to actually encourage people in the community to go out and become police officers. That's for another video, though. But I have some plans for that. But the fact of the matter is that our state assembly, okay, our state senators do us a disfavor and disserviceable representation when they try to make it a cop-out, like, oh, it's the city's responsibility, or, oh, it's the county's problem. No, it's not. Bill reform and raise the age laws are the laws that are causing the issues in our state and in our county. I really wish he would have done his live and spoken to me more, but he wanted to take off. Because if he had a real conversation with me, we could actually address the issues that are going on. He knows what time it is. I don't, for the life of me, understand why he sees the suffering in the community. Listen, I'm going to show you this right now. Literally, right up the street right there, not 500 feet from here, there was somebody shot and killed in a car like two and a half weeks ago. Over there, somebody was strangled to death. Around the corner, over here, somebody was shot down the street dead, okay, a little earlier in the year, okay? The gas station, I ain't even got to tell you about all the crime over there at the gas station, all the shootings and stabbings and everything that goes on over there. And I could name, and this is just like in less than a block radius, right? If I try to go up another couple of streets to Troop, or expand it to Van Acker, or expand it back over to Brown Street or something, listen, we got so many shootings, stabbings, drug overdoses, which don't get addressed. These are things that we need to address in our community. It's plaguing our community, and it's not just here, right? Like, it's our whole county is suffering, our whole state, many of the major cities are suffering from these laws. And it needs to be addressed. And that's why we came out here today to rally. And that's why, let me see if I can do the picture right. You can see behind me all of those Post-it notes with our issues were posted on his door today. That's it. It's simple. We know what we want. We know what is gonna need changing in our neighborhood. People's cars should not be stolen left and right, okay? These people that are going to jail and getting arrested should not be getting right out on appearance tickets. People shouldn't have 2, 3, 4 appearance tickets, and then we see them go out and commit a serious offense. We've got these car thief gangs that are popping up all over the place, which is crazy. And now they're starting to take on even more serious criminal activity because they know that nothing will be done, because there is no accountability, because of the laws that are out there. And these are the issues that we came here to address. Like I said, we're not stopping here. We're going to keep it going. So I encourage you, check out RestoreRochester.com if you're in the Monroe County area, in the Rochester area, and you want to take part, okay? Because it's going to take all of us to unite together to push back against these laws which need to be changed. And if you're in another part of the state, reach out. We want to grow this movement across the state, especially in deep blue areas, because those are the people who keep pushing these type of laws that are harming the largest portion of our populace. Okay, and that's the working class, the middle class, those in poverty. It's as if they do not care about us. And it's time that we restore the focus on us, we, the people, because they're our representatives. They represent us. I've already, like I said, I've already talked to him to his face. I tell him I don't have any issue with you personally. It's just that we need these laws changed. I've told him this before. We've set up meetings. We've done it multiple times. Other people have set up meetings with him to address this issue. This isn't new news to him. He reads the paper. He turns on the news. He knows what's going on. But I don't know if it's a disconnect. I don't know if it's purposeful or whatever the situation is, but somehow between what is impacting our actual community and the actual legislation on the state level, he does not see the connection for whatever reason, when we can clearly see the connection. When the Chamber of Commerce wrote a letter, Chamber of Commerce, Bob Duffy used to be the lieutenant governor, used to be the mayor of the city, okay, wrote a letter to the governor about it. When we see that the Locust Club, the police union, writes a letter to the governor and to the state about it. When we see our mayor, Malik Evans, and I know a lot of you guys take issue with him, but when we see our mayor, Malik Evans, go to Albany and actually speak on this issue, when we see Cooney, Jeremy Cooney, speak on this issue and say something needs to be done and then backtrack on it, which is a whole separate conversation, we coming to come see him soon, okay? Because you don't say that and then backtrack. Come on, bro. You see our community's hurting. Don't do us like that. Don't do us like that, okay? Kathy Hochul, okay? Even the governor, Kathy Hochul, okay, said that bill reform and raise the age should be looked at for revision. And the state assembly told her to kick rocks. So this is very serious and it needs to be addressed. We just saw all of this crime over the week. We just saw North Clinton Business Corridor meet on these very severe issues. We see all the shootings all around. We see all the stabbings. We had a guy thrown out the gosh darn window, okay, by a registered sex offender. We had a guy beat to death in a store, okay, in front of other people. Why are these laws not being addressed? Crime is not being punished. Other people are seeing that, and they think that it's okay to commit crime now because there's very little to no repercussions. They used to say, don't do the crime if you can't do the time. And right now it seems like nobody's having any time. And the backlog of cases is beyond belief. Beyond belief. The court system, the criminal justice system, they just do not have the capacity. That's why one of the suggestions that we had is that we add some clerical judges to arraign some of these people so that we can take some of the pressure off of specifically the family court, but also the other courts as well, because they're backlogged and they're just not able to see all the people. So people's court cases are a month, 4 months, 5 months, a year out. And that's not okay because they're still out here doing crazy, wild stuff. You know, this needs to be addressed. It's a serious issue. We also asked for some other things, and I'll go over them later in a separate video. And we did ask for more resources for juvenile offenses, because if somebody is a juvenile and they're committing an offense, there are 3 things that we ask for. We ask, 1, that they are put into a financial literacy program. 2, that they are put into an on-the-job training program with a specific company that's willing to hire them afterward. And 3, that they are put in a mentorship program. All 3. One independently will not work. It needs to be all 3. So we're asking for funding towards that, and we're asking for funding towards bonuses for people that are law enforcement to move from out of state into state to take up law enforcement positions. And we're asking for money for retention bonuses for the officers as well, because Lord bless every one of them that's been there so long, because right now I don't know how most of them are standing it. Thank them for still being here. Tell them you're appreciative when you see them out on the street. Say thank you for your service, because Lord knows that I wouldn't be able to do that job right now, and I know many of you wouldn't want to do it either. So those are a few of the things that we we're pushing for, again, the other amendments to bill reform. Like, we can't have people and this is for raise the age. We can't have people that have 3, 4, 5 appearance tickets being charged as a juvenile. You can't have that. You get 1 appearance ticket, you're charged as a juvenile. You got 2, you're getting charged as an adult, especially if it's the same thing. 3, 4, 5? Come on now. We can't be doing that. And then we need to hold the records and the fingerprints of these juvenile defenders and not get rid of their records for things that would normally be in part 1 of the court system, which, again, I'll go over that later in our actual asks later in a different video. But we're asking for real common sense reforms. We're not asking that they get rid of the whole bill. We're not asking that they shred it. We're asking for common sense reforms, okay? That's why we're here. We'd love Assemblyman Meeks to actually help us and be the hero and be the leader that our community needs to stand up and push back against the legislation that's there. But I have yet to see it. I hope he comes around. I really, truly hope he comes around and is the hero and is the leader that we need. But as of this point, it hasn't happened. So that's why we came out here today. That's why we put our grievances on the door that you can see posted behind me. Let me see if I can move out the way. Okay. That's why we came out here, to redress our grievances with one of our elected officials that represents New York State, that represents the city of Rochester and Italian Gates, that represents Monroe County area. This is why we came out today. And we're going to keep up this effort to put the pressure and take the pressure straight to our elected officials, because those are the ones who need the pressure put on them, the ones who can change the laws. And these 2 laws are state level laws. So that's the state assembly and the state senate. That's not city council. That's not the mayor. That is the state assembly, and that is the state senate. So those are the people we have to hold accountable. Again, if you like this initiative, if you want to be a part of it, go to restororochester.com. We have to start uniting together to push back against this. If we want something to be changed, we have to get a groundswell going. Go to restororochester.com. And even if you're in another part of Monroe County, go, because this is a county-wide initiative, okay? And if you're outside of the county and you're still in the state, in other parts of the state, link up with us. Go to the website, tell us that you want to do something similar where you are, and we'll get back to you, because this has to be a statewide effort. This has to be a statewide initiative. If we want to return public safety to our communities, if we want to return prosperous businesses to our communities, because who wants to be a business that's always getting robbed, or a business in a high crime community? You know, people don't want to take their kids to school. People don't want to go out to their car to drive to work in the morning. These are very serious issues because of bill reform and raise the age. So that's where we are. That's what we did earlier today. I'm going to do another video later with the actual asks. We had 10 different things we were asking for, and I'll put that video up, and I'll also put up some pictures a little bit later. I'll catch you guys later. Remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action. You be blessed and be well. Catch you later.